Greetings, my wonderful students. Today we discuss statehood for Florida and Texas. When Florida was ceded to the United States in 1821, it was appointed a territorial governor, a territorial legislature, and a non-voting delegate to the U.S. Congress. In 1824, Tallahassee became the territorial capital, and the territory had less than 8,000 people. Many planters began to move from Virginia, Georgia, and South Carolina to Florida for the rich soil there. They established plantations in North Florida and were influential in politics. By 1837, 48,000 people lived in Florida, and slaves made up half the population. Officials organized a vote if the people of Florida wanted to apply for statehood. Only white men over 21 years old could vote in this election, and they voted for statehood. They wrote a constitution that had a governor for 4 years, an elected assembly, and it supported slavery. They submitted this state constitution to Congress for final approval. Because Congress wanted to keep an equal balance of free and slave states, it waited 6 years to approve Florida's application until another free state was ready to join. Iowa became a candidate for statehood as a free state, and Florida was approved as the 27th state in 1845. And Iowa became the 28th state in 1846, and the balance between free and slave states was maintained. Texas. In 1821, Mexico had won its independence from Spain and controlled the area that is Texas today. Mexico offered large amounts of land to people who agreed to bring families to move to Mexico and settle there as Mexican citizens. Stephen Austin brought 300 American families to settle in Texas and became a leader among the American settlers there. At first, Mexico encouraged American settlement, but that changed as time passed. Americans greatly outnumbered the Tejanos, Mexican Texans, and tensions increased when Americans refused to follow Mexican rules, like learning Spanish and becoming Catholic. Mexico threatened to end slavery, further increasing tension with the slaveholding Americans. In 1830, Mexico closed its borders to immigration. Texan leaders Austin and Sam Houston tried to make peace with the Mexican leaders. This failed, and many Americans and Tejanos who joined them began planning a break with Mexico. In 1835, General Santa Anna took an army into Texas to punish the rebels. In December, the Texans took the city of San Antonio from Mexican troops, and Santa Anna marched his troops to San Antonio and found a Texan force barricaded in a mission building called the Alamo. There were 180 soldiers in the Alamo versus Santa Anna's thousands of soldiers. The Americans included famous people such as Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie, and they were commanded by William B. Travis. They held off the Mexican army for 13 days, and then they were overrun. Only a few women, children, and servants survived, but the battle bought time for the Texan forces to gather troops and supplies. Texan leaders, including a number of Tejanos, declared independence from Mexico on March 2, 1836, a few days before the fall of the Alamo. They established the Republic of Texas and set up a temporary government. They were able to defeat Santa Anna's forces, and a treaty was signed by him on May 14, 1836, that recognized the Texan independence. The Lone Star Republic. In September of 1836, Sam Houston, president of Texas, sent a delegation to the United States asking them to annex Texas. President Andrew Jackson refused, not wanting to upset the balance of slave and free states in the country. Southerners favored the annexation of Texas, and Northerners opposed it. President Martin Van Buren, not wanting to inflame tensions, put off the question. And President John Tyler supported the annexation of Texas, but the treaty did not pass the divided Senate. In 1844, however, the presidential campaign Manifest Destiny was a big theme. Polk supported both the annexation of Texas for the South and gaining the Oregon territory for the North. Polk won the election, and Texas joined the Union in 1845. And I hope you enjoyed this slideshow.